Hey everybody, today is all about weekly planning, and this is based off one of your comments on the video where I discussed the difference between Todoist and Sunsama and why you actually need both in order to be productive as a busy professional. And this comment came from Amy Zimmerman, so thanks for the comment already. Hello, thanks for this comparison video. I really enjoy the walkthrough of these concepts. Yes, would also love a deep dive on seeing the weekly planning info that you suggested around minute 16, and I looked it up and true. There's more to be said. Thank you again. I'm going to watch this again, check into Sunsama, which will be new for me, and check into ICOR too. Thank you very much. See you inside the membership maybe, and much appreciated. Okay, let's dive into this. What is the weekly planning all about? That's what we will answer here, and then we will go into Sunsama. The thing is, there's more to weekly planning than simply sitting down on Friday or Monday and thinking about, okay, what will I do this week? And then you start tinkering around, looking up all your tasks that you have, look into your notebooks and so on. No, if a productivity system is set up properly end to end, then there's no effort to make the weekly planning, as everything is ready at your hand to easily plan things out throughout the week. Many people waste time doing hours of weekly review and planning to consolidate everything that they had scattered throughout the week. But if we have structure in this in the first place, you will save this time per week. And for many of you, I know this is a lot of time that you can save. So how is this done? How can you get the big picture all the way down to the task that you need to do? That's where ICOR comes into play. And in our project management like a pro course, we talk about the output elements. And output elements is just giving definitions to words that you already using every day, like goals, projects, and tasks. And we add something like work streams and operations. And very briefly, obviously in the course we go a lot deeper into this, how this works. But very briefly, if you set goals for your business, and we always say do quarterly goals, even that you have a yearly goal, try to break it down into quarterly goals and try to achieve it in a quarter, even if it is not feasible, but it gives you the focus and pressure to do as much as possible to achieve this goal. So once you have set your goals, you think about the projects you need to complete in order to achieve this goal. You create these projects, and for these two parts, there is no actionable item yet. All right, there's nothing actionable yet. It's pure information. There's information that you want to achieve this goal. There's information that this is the high-level project we need to do in order to achieve the goal. And now you think about the tasks that you had to accomplish inside the project to complete the project and therefore automatically achieve your goal. And that's where we say you achieve your goals on autopilot by simply working on the tasks that come out of these projects. The problem is with many people, they mix up shallow work with deep work. And we have to have an understanding of the difference here. So that's in a task management like a pro course where we talk about shallow versus deep work and so on. Not talking about this today. If you want to hear more about this, let me know in the comments below. Today we want to focus on just this so we understand better the weekly planning process. So, but what about these floating tasks that you have to do? Things that have no projects, but you still need it to get done. This is where operations comes into play. And let's have a look into ClickUp, how we set this up. Obviously, you can do this in any project management that you like, but in ClickUp, it looks like this. So here you go. On the side, you see our ClickUp structure, and it is as easy as that. We have the projects, we have the work streams, and we have the operations, as you have just seen with the output elements. And then we have the goals, which you can do in ClickUp too. Here we go. There's the goals, okay, for this quarter. We already completed a lot. So if I show the archived goals, you see we are actually walking the walk together with you guys. We know it's working and we are using it for our own business and the other businesses too. So this is the ultimate goals. And now we can go into the goal, and you see it's connected to a list, and the list is actually the project. Okay, ICOR for teams. If we open up projects, we see here ICOR for teams. Again, you say, you just work on 3 projects. Well, we are now able to have a lot less projects than we had a year ago because now we are in work stream mode. Okay, and this is the difference. Work streams are recurring projects. Once you do something on a recurring basis, you can optimize the hell out of it. This is where we talk about in the automation like a pro course, how you lay out your business processes to better understand optimization potential that you have in these. And then you have a work stream. And here you go. This is, for example, the YouTube channel. that you're watching right now. And here's the work stream laid out, the things that I want to record, the things that I'm currently editing, the things that are published. And we worked with video editors in the past. But the thing is, we became so efficient in going through the work stream that I don't need any help anymore. I'm doing it myself now. So this is the work stream. But what about operations? Operations is just representing, in our case, the different departments. And this means when we have something that our designer needs to create, for example, it goes here. If I need any asset, so I say, I need a new background asset for YouTube, right? I would add the details here and so on, assign the designer to it. And this is a one-off task. It's not tied to any project. And that's what we have operations for. Going back here, now you should get the point. We have the goal, and the goal could be increase the revenue. This is also tied to work streams by pushing out more and more videos and increasing the quality and the turnaround time and so on. We will achieve this goal on autopilot, right? So what's the point of all of this, Tom? The point is that we don't need prioritization in our system. There's nothing more redundant in all these project management tools like these prioritizations. That's why we switched it off in ClickUp. You don't see any prioritization here when it comes to this task, because each task has already the highest prioritization. It needs to get done. If we give this a medium or low prior, it will never get done, because there will be always more high priority tasks. So we can say, because it's based on our goals and therefore linked to a project workstream operations, it's always worth doing. If something is not worth doing and there is an idea, well, this is where the idea incubator comes into play. It's again a whole other video. If you want me to do this, right, I can talk about how we manage our team ideas. Nothing falls through the cracks through the idea incubator. But the point is now that you get the understanding, okay, any task that is created inside ClickUp, in our case, is high prior task. What about Todoist then, Tom? Well, Todoist I'm using for speedies. Tasks less than 15 minutes. My private tasks that I'm doing, right? Everything there. And Sunsama is now the place where everything comes together and I can plan out the week. But before we do that, there's one step before that. If you're in the course Project Management Like a Pro, there's the execution beast. And here you get the magic slides and all the details how this works, right? All I want to point out here are the output elements that I just mentioned, and it feeds into the project management system. And therefore then I'm using personally the task management system to plan things out. However, you see it's also connected to weekly planning, the project management system, because every Monday we have an agenda meeting where we plan out the week together. What is the most important things that we need to get done this week? A week is tangible, right? We get an understanding how much we can get done. We understand if we have the next discussion a week later, why we didn't get things done. It's a scope everybody gets. So that's why we say this week or next week to understand how we keep planning. And that's how everything stays fluent. And we usually tend to do around 5 weekly goals, which is essentially the tasks that the individual of the team needs to get done this week. So this means when I get these tasks assigned inside ClickUp, I go back to my desk, I go to in Sunsama and plan out these tasks against the calendar and my other tasks that I have floating around. And I have a perfect picture then what I can achieve. And these are the daily highlights that I want to get done. So the 5 weekly goals I'll plan out as daily highlights or highlight of the day, which are the deep work tasks every day that I want to do 3 to 4 hours to get this task done, because it's the highest priority. And usually I'm doing this in the morning and the rest of the day is bonus. I do all the shallow work, I do support tickets and all these things I can do afterwards, but I can be sure I already achieved the best thing in this day. Everything else is bonus. You can say, well, just one task a day. You have no idea how many tasks I have to do. Promise. If you do this and you do 5 highlights of the day, which are high impact tasks that align to your projects and your goals, you will get a lot more done than you ever have got done in your entire life during the week, because the average busy professional is just busy with either work about work or shallow work, responding to requests, somebody interrupting you, notifications coming in, email management, all these things. The day is gone. Maybe you add another 2 hours in the end of the day to actually work on something that you promised that you will work on, but you never will have the feeling of accomplishment and being in control in the end of the day. And that's what we achieve with this. If we have this planned out and we have one highlight of the day, I know if I complete this day, it's the best day I could have achieved. If I was faster, maybe I can do another one that I planned for the next day, but it's an upward spiral instead of downwards. And that's what we need to understand. There's a lot more going into a productivity system end to end that I can't cover in this video. However, what we also need to understand here is that this is the team area and this is the personal area. And there are different ways to work. And again, could be another video talking about this. Just about execution, you need to be aware there's an energy level, there's an urgent, speedy and unexpected event that we need to consider what's going on. We are busy professionals after all. We are not a student sitting here and I have to train for this and I have to go to this lesson. I was doing this, I have my PhD, I know how old is this. No man, corporate life, whole other level, running several businesses like Paco does, whole other world, right? We know it. We walk the walk. We are still walking the walk. And you need to consider unexpected events, things that are much more important than your high priority tasks. That's the point. There's one more priority that we allow to get into the system. And this is urgent. So any task that we do and are planned out, these are already the highest priority tasks, as I discussed. But there's one more thing. There are urgent tasks, but it's for you and for the whole team important to understand what is actually urgent. You need to define it. And we usually say urgent is something that has a high business impact. So this means if the website breaks down and I'm the web developer and I'm just designing a new page right now, well, I have to stop this work, even if it is aligned with the projects and goals, because I'm also responsible to keep the website running. And the moment the website is down, no more leads can come in, no more people can join our membership. So obviously this becomes a level higher priority than our general tasks. But you see, this is really important. What I lived in corporate, when I took over a team, we've been working on 150 projects in parallel. Impossible with 5 people. But that's why there always been, one was coming back from burnout, they're overwhelmed and so on. The thing to overcome this was to identify what is actually nice to have. What are the optimization projects? And then discuss with the project managers and so on to say, well, we cannot do it all, but we need to understand what we need to focus on so it really moves the business forward. And this was a game changer there too. And it was a game changer for thousands of our professionals. And it will be one for you if you apply it too. You see, I could go on for hours talking about this system, but let's quickly go into Sunsama to see how this looks like. And here we are in Sunsama. As you see, today is the August the 6th, and we will publish today the podcast around para versus code versus ICOR. Other things that are just coming in, my events. I'm meeting my friend this evening, and yesterday there was not much going on as I was away half the day, but this is my personal planner. Nobody should look at this, but still I want to show you how you perfectly can plan out your week now and stay in control. Okay, so you see on Monday I had this 3-hour meeting with Paco about the agenda. We had the live Q&A recording, and what happens in between? Well, this is where I can do the workstream mode as well. I don't need to add all the things here. It's part of the afternoon and the morning routines. So if in a morning routine, here I have the, as I showed you in another video already, you can feel free to watch it. This is how I process the routines. And in the afternoon, I have a lot more, process emails, process mail, process to-doist. This is time consuming itself, but I don't need to list out all the individual tasks. I just need to go to the right tool where I see the batched tasks that I need to work on. They are ready for me to go. I don't need to think about what should I do next and so on. No, here I'm going into afternoon routine, shallow work mode, and I do this. In the morning, there's the deep work task. So the thing is, in order to to keep track of the 5 weekly goals that we want to achieve at least per week, you can click on any of these and go to the 3 dots and say align with objective. And you see there's a shortcut R. So if you hover over this and you hit R, you can do the same thing. And now you say there's no weekly objective, but you can simply turn this into the weekly objective. By doing so, you see now this purple icon that is coming up, and here it slides in the weekly objectives. This means if I go now to today view, this is my focus, what I need to do today, and I can perfectly see what I want to achieve this day. No noise around it. And if I want to go even further with focus, again, you can go here and start here the focus mode. or you just hover over it and hit space and you go into focus mode. See, there's even a timer counting now, and then you can see the time that you planned out and so on. So this gives you full focus. This is what I'm working on right now. So if there's any distraction coming in from the team via notification, whatever, even if I get distracted for 5 minutes, I just need to look at my screen and I perfectly understand what I was just working on. Okay. So the next thing is, once you have for the whole week these things planned out, okay, that these are 3 videos I want to publish this week. So these are my weekly highlights. They are shallow work. No, they are not. So I just switched this here to deep work. And again, I can make a video about how I set up Sunsama. If you want to see this, let me know in the comments below. And I will do one where I show you the whole setup of Sunsama, how I set it up, because in fact, you need not even half of the features that Sunsama offers in order to improve your overall productivity. Okay, so now I'm perfectly set up and I see at any time here my weekly objectives, and then I understand by completing this I achieved my weekly objective. And now let's say something urgent comes in. I don't know, we have an emergency meeting or something like that. Now I can perfectly understand what can I do, how can I move things around. This is a pretty calm planning this week, right? But sometimes it's really a long list here, and Paco and I, we both always say if it goes beyond the display size, it's too much. That's just the indicator. It's a visual indicator. If there are too many things, I just can't get these things done. And that's why we also say don't add your shallow work in here too, because you will always have an endless list. And that produces anxiety already just by looking at it. So I need to have a clean view. But I hope you understand now, by having it this way, it's so easy to replan. If anything new comes in, let's say this is an unexpected event. Now I understand, okay, this becomes so long. Okay, well, it's tough, but maybe I can do 2 videos this week on one day. I wouldn't do that probably. Maybe I move it to next week or something like this. But this one, I can perfectly move it around because it's shallow work. You know, I just didn't want to forget it. So I wanted to plan it out properly in here. But as you can see, if you go to the calendar, it's not planned out on the calendar. There's nothing on the calendar. You see these dotted things. It just indicates that you want to work on this, but this is not appearing in my calendar if I'm on my phone. That's important. So I hope this gives you a better understanding on how we differentiate between goals, projects, and tasks, and all the way down to planning it out for the week. And by simply doing this every week and you stay consistent with this, you don't need willpower. You don't need to have discipline in order to follow this up. You will see it becomes so easy to work every day because you wake up, you know what you need to do, that you will suffer not doing it. So you will do this on autopilot anyway. I hope this clarified it more. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. And if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel so I can catch you up in the next one.